I'm about to shatter your illusions about how life really works, and some of you won't like what I have to say. The reason you're not successful is not because you don't hope enough, it's because you hope too much. Hope has become the opium of the unsuccessful masses. It's the pacifier that keeps you calm while your life slowly dies. Every minute you spend hoping is a minute you're not preparing, and every day you don't prepare is a day you fall further behind. The successful people you admire, the wealthy people you envy, the achievers you look up to, they all discovered this secret. Hope is the enemy. Preparation is the weapon. While you're sitting there hoping your life will change, they're out there making their lives change. That's the difference between winners and losers. Let me ask you this. How many times have you heard someone say, "I hope things get better"? How many times have you said it yourself? Well, let me share something with you that changed my life forever. You don't get what you hope for. You get what you prepare for. I learned this lesson the hard way. When I was 25 years old, I had been working for 6 years, and I had pennies in my pocket. Literally pennies. I was hoping for a miracle. I was hoping my boss would give me a raise. I was hoping the economy would turn around. I was hoping someone would come along and rescue me from my financial troubles. But here's the thing about hope. It's seductive. It makes you feel like you're doing something when you're actually doing nothing. I would sit in my little apartment, surrounded by bills I couldn't pay, and I would hope. I would hope that tomorrow would be different. I would hope that next month would be better. I would hope that next year would be my year. And you know what? Tomorrow came and it was the same. Next month arrived and it was worse. Next year showed up and I was still broke. Because hope without preparation is just wishful thinking dressed up in pretty clothes. I remember watching other people around me. Some were hoping just like I was. They would gather at the coffee shop and talk about how things were going to get better. They would buy lottery tickets and hope to win. They would apply for jobs and hope to get called back. They were full of hope, but they were also full of disappointment. But then there were others. They weren't talking about hope. They were talking about plans. They weren't buying lottery tickets. They were buying books. They weren't waiting for callbacks. They were making calls. They weren't hoping for opportunities. They were creating opportunities. I started to notice a pattern. The people who talked about hope were always struggling. The people who talked about preparation were always progressing. The people who hoped for breaks were always broke. The people who prepared for breaks were always breaking through. This was a revelation to me. I realized that hope was keeping me poor. Hope was keeping me stuck. Hope was keeping me exactly where I didn't want to be. Every moment I spent hoping was a moment I wasn't preparing. Every day I waited for things to get better was a day I wasn't making things better. It hit me like lightning. The people who were succeeding weren't luckier than me. They weren't smarter than me. They weren't more talented than me. They were just more prepared than me. While I was hoping for success, they were preparing for success. While I was wishing for opportunities, they were preparing for opportunities. Then I met my mentor, and he asked me a simple question that shook me to my core. He said, "Jim, how much money have you saved in the last 6 years?" I told him the embarrassing truth. Practically nothing. Then he asked, "How many books have you read in the last 6 years?" Again, practically nothing. "How many classes have you taken? How many new skills have you developed?" The answer was the same. And he looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "Jim, you've been hoping for 6 years. How's that working for you?" The truth hit me like a sledgehammer. I wasn't broke because the economy was bad. I wasn't struggling because my boss was unfair. I was struggling because I had spent 6 years hoping instead of preparing. That conversation changed everything for me. It was the moment I realized that hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a plan. Hope is not a path to success. Hope is what you do when you don't know what else to do. But when you know what to do, you don't need hope, you need preparation. See, here's what most people don't understand. Life doesn't care about your hopes. Life doesn't care about your wishes. Life doesn't care about your good intentions. Life only responds to preparation. It only responds to what you've made yourself ready for. Think about it this way. If you hope to have a good marriage, but you don't prepare by learning how to communicate, how to listen, how to love, how to serve another person, what do you think you're going to get? You're going to get what you prepared for, which is conflict, misunderstanding, and eventually divorce. If you hope to be successful in business, but you don't prepare by studying your industry, developing your skills, building relationships, and creating value for others, what are you going to get? You're going to get what you prepared for, which is mediocrity at best. If you hope to be healthy, but you don't prepare by eating right, exercising regularly, getting enough sleep, and managing stress, what are you going to get? You're going to get what you prepared for, which is sickness and disease. This is the law. It's not negotiable. It's not unfair. It's just the way things work. The farmer who hopes for a good harvest but doesn't prepare the soil, plant the seeds, water the crops, and tend to them daily doesn't get a harvest. The student who hopes for good grades but doesn't prepare by studying, doing homework, and showing up to class doesn't get good grades. You see, hoping is passive. Preparing is active. Hoping is wishing. Preparing is working. Hoping is emotional. Preparing is practical. And life always rewards the practical over the emotional. Now let me tell you what preparation really looks like. Preparation isn't just getting ready for what you expect. Preparation is getting ready for what you don't expect. It's building yourself into the kind of person who can handle whatever comes your way. When I finally understood this principle, everything changed for me. I stopped hoping my life would get better, and I started preparing myself to become better. I began reading books every day, not hoping to read them someday, but actually reading them. I started going to seminars and classes, not hoping to learn someday, but actually learning today. But here's what I want you to understand about preparation. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. Most of the time, it's boring. While others are out having fun, you're studying. While others are watching television, you're reading. While others are sleeping in, you're getting up early to work on yourself. People used to ask me, Jim, why are you always reading? Why are you always going to seminars? Why don't you just relax and enjoy life? And I would tell them, I am enjoying life. I'm preparing for a better life. You see, there are two kinds of pain in life, the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. The pain of discipline is temporary. It lasts for a moment, an hour, a day, maybe a season. But the pain of regret lasts forever, and I decided I would rather endure the pain of discipline than live with the pain of regret. Preparation is about discipline. It's about doing what you need to do, whether you feel like it or not. It's about making the right choices consistently, even when no one is watching. It's about building habits that serve your future self, not just your present self. Let me tell you about the power of daily preparation. Small preparations done consistently create massive results over time. Reading one book won't make you smart, but reading one book every month for 10 years will make you brilliant. Exercising once won't make you fit, but exercising every day for a year will transform your body. Saving $10 won't make you rich, but saving $10 every day for 20 years will make you wealthy. I prepared my mind by feeding it with good information. I prepared my skills by practicing them daily. I prepared my character by making better choices. I prepared my relationships by serving others. And you know what happened? Life started giving me what I had prepared for instead of what I had hoped for. The beautiful thing about preparation is that it compounds. Every day you prepare, you get a little bit better. Every day you don't prepare, you get a little bit worse. And the gap between the prepared and the unprepared gets wider and wider over time. Here's the beautiful thing about preparation. When you prepare, you don't have to hope anymore. You know when the opportunity comes, you're ready. When the challenge comes, you can handle it. When the moment arrives, you can perform. But here's what most people do instead. They wait They wait for the right time. They wait for the right opportunity. They wait for the right person. They wait for the right circumstances. And while they're waiting and hoping, others are preparing and receiving. Let me share something with you about the difference between hoping and preparing. Hope says maybe it will happen. Preparation says when it happens, I'll be ready. Hope depends on luck. Preparation creates luck. Hope is leaving it to chance. Preparation is taking charge. I've watched this pattern for decades. The people who succeed are not the ones who hope the most. They're the ones who prepare the most. They're the ones who do the work before they have to do the work. They're the ones who get ready before they need to be ready. The successful business person doesn't hope for success. They prepare for success by studying their market, understanding their customers, developing their products, building their team, and creating systems that work. When success comes, it's not luck. It's the natural result of preparation meeting opportunity. The successful parent doesn't hope to raise good children. They prepare to raise good children by learning about child development, practicing patience, developing communication skills, and creating a loving environment. When their children turn out well, it's not an accident. It's the result of years of preparation. The successful leader doesn't hope to inspire others. They prepare to inspire others by developing their own character, learning to communicate effectively, understanding human nature, and becoming someone worth following. When people follow them, it's not charisma. It's the result of preparation. Now, let me tell you why so many people choose hoping over preparing. It's because hoping is easy and preparing is hard. Hoping requires nothing. Preparing requires everything. Hoping costs nothing up front, but costs you everything in the end. Preparing costs you something up front, but pays you everything in the end. Hope feels good in the moment. It gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling. It lets you feel like you're doing something without actually doing anything. It's like eating candy for dinner. It tastes good going down, but it doesn't nourish you. Here's the dangerous thing about hope. It creates an illusion of progress. When you hope, you feel like you're moving forward, but you're actually standing still. You feel like you're taking action, but you're actually taking vacation from action. You feel like you're solving problems, but you're actually avoiding problems. I've watched people hope their way through entire decades. They hoped through their 20s that things would get better. They hoped through their 30s that opportunities would come. They hoped through their 40s that success would find them. And then they woke up in their 50s wondering where their life went. The cruelest part about hoping is that it steals your sense of urgency. When you hope, you think you have all the time in the world. You think tomorrow will be different. You think next week will bring change. You think next month will be your breakthrough. But tomorrow becomes today, and it's the same. Next week arrives, and nothing has changed. Next month shows up, and you're still hoping. Meanwhile, the person who is preparing doesn't have time to hope. They're too busy getting ready. They're too busy building. They're too busy growing. They're too busy becoming. And while the hoping person is waiting for their ship to come in, the preparing person is building their own ship. Our society doesn't help either. We're taught to hope from childhood. We're told to make a wish when we blow out birthday candles. We're encouraged to hope for the best. We're given participation trophies for showing up. We're raised to believe that good things come to those who wait. But that's not how life works. Good things come to those who prepare. Great things come to those who prepare greatly. Extraordinary things come to those who prepare extraordinarily. Preparation, on the other hand, sometimes feels uncomfortable. It requires discipline. It requires sacrifice. It requires you to do things you don't feel like doing when you don't feel like doing them. It's like eating vegetables. It might not taste as good as candy, but it builds your strength. The tragedy is that most people choose the candy over the vegetables. They choose the good feeling over the good results. They choose the easy path over the effective path. And then they wonder why their life doesn't turn out the way they hope. But here's what I learned. The discomfort of preparation is temporary. The discomfort of being unprepared is permanent. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs ton. When you prepare, you might feel uncomfortable for a little while. But when you don't prepare, you feel uncomfortable for a long while. When you prepare, you might struggle in private for a season. But when you don't prepare, you struggle in public for a lifetime. So let me ask you this. What are you preparing for? Not what are you hoping for. What are you preparing for? Because whatever you're preparing for is what you're going to get. If you're preparing for mediocrity by doing mediocre things, you're going to get mediocrity. If you're preparing for failure by developing failure habits, you're going to get failure. If you're preparing for success by developing success habits, you're going to get success. The choice is yours. But understand this, you're going to get something. Life is going to give you results. The question is, what kind of results are you preparing to receive? Let me give you some practical ways to start preparing today instead of just hoping. First, prepare your mind. Read books. Listen to educational programs. Attend seminars. Learn from people who have already achieved what you want to achieve. Feed your mind with good information every single day. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't plant good seeds, weeds will grow automatically. If you don't fill your mind with good thoughts, negative thoughts will fill it automatically. So prepare your mind by planting good seeds every day. But here's the key about preparing your mind. You can't just read any books. You need to read the right books. You can't just listen to any programs. You need to listen to programs that will help you grow. You can't just attend any seminars. You need to attend seminars that will teach you valuable skills. I made a commitment to read one book every week. Not just any book, but books that would help me become better. Books about success, about business, about relationships, about personal development. I would take notes. I would study them. I would apply what I learned. And over time, my mind became a library of useful knowledge. Second, prepare your skills. Whatever field you're in, become excellent at it. Don't just do enough to get by. Do enough to stand out. Practice your craft. Study your profession. Learn new techniques. Develop new abilities. Make yourself so valuable that opportunities seek you out. Here's what most people don't understand about skill development. It's not about perfection. It's about progression. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be better today than you were yesterday. You just have to be better this month than you were last month. You just have to be better this year than you were last year. I spent years developing my speaking skills. I didn't start out as a great speaker. I was terrible. But I prepared. I practiced. I studied other speakers. I recorded myself. I listened to my recordings. I improved little by little. And eventually I became good enough to speak professionally. The same principle applies to any skill. If you want to be good at sales, study sales. If you want to be good at leadership, study leadership. If you want to be good at parenting, study parenting. Don't just hope you'll get better. Prepare to get better. But here's something crucial about skill preparation that most people miss. You need to prepare for skills you don't even need yet. You need to develop abilities for opportunities that haven't arrived. You need to build capabilities for challenges you haven't faced. When I was working my first job, I started studying business even though I wasn't in business. I started learning about investments even though I had no money to invest. I started developing leadership skills even though I wasn't leading anyone. People thought I was crazy. They said I was wasting my time. But when opportunities came, I was ready. When the business opportunity appeared, I had the knowledge. When I finally had money to invest, I had the understanding. When leadership positions opened up, I had the skills. I wasn't hoping to learn when I needed it. I had already prepared to learn before I needed it. This is what separates the truly successful from the merely hopeful. The hopeful person waits until they need a skill to start developing it. The prepared person develops skills long before they need them. The hopeful person scrambles to learn when opportunity knocks. The prepared person is already educated when opportunity arrives. Third, prepare your habits. Success is not a one-time event. Success is a daily process. It's the result of doing the right things over and over again until they become automatic. So prepare yourself by developing the habits that lead to the results you want. If you want to be healthy, develop healthy habits. If you want to be wealthy, develop wealthy habits. If you want to have good relationships, develop relationship habits. Don't hope these things will happen. Prepare for them to happen by doing what successful people do. But here's the thing about habits. They're hard to start and easy to break. So you need to be intentional about building them. You need to be consistent about maintaining them. You need to be patient about seeing results from them. Develop the habit of reading every day. I develop the habit of exercising every day. I develop the habit of planning my day every morning. I develop the habit of reviewing my goals every week. These habits didn't come naturally. I had to work at them. But over time, they became automatic, and they transformed my life. Here's what I discovered about habits. Small habits lead to big results, but only if you stick with them long enough. Most people try to build huge habits right away. They want to read for 3 hours a day when they haven't read for 3 minutes a day. They want to exercise for 2 hours when they haven't exercised for 2 minutes. Start small, build slowly, be consistent. Read for 10 minutes a day before you try to read for an hour. Exercise for 5 minutes before you try to exercise for 30. Save $10 before you try to save $100. The key is consistency, not intensity. Fourth, prepare your character. Character is who you are when nobody's watching. It's your internal compass. It's what guides your decisions when the pressure is on. And let me tell you, if you don't prepare your character in advance, you'll fail when it matters most. Prepare your character by making good choices in small things. Be honest in small matters so you'll be trusted with big matters. Be faithful in small responsibilities so you'll be given bigger responsibilities. Keep your word in small commitments so people will believe you when you make big commitments. Character is built in private but displayed in public. Character is developed in small moments but tested in big moments. Character is formed by daily choices but revealed by crisis choices. I learned to prepare my character by practicing integrity in everything. If I said I would do something, I did it. If I made a commitment, I kept it. If I gave my word, I honored it. Even when it was inconvenient. Even when it cost me something. Even when nobody would know if I broke it. Fifth, prepare your relationships. Success is rarely a solo journey. You need other people. You need mentors to guide you. You need peers to encourage you. You need followers to support you. But relationships don't just happen. You have to prepare for them. Prepare for relationships by becoming the kind of person others want to be around. Be generous, be helpful, be encouraging, be reliable. Serve others before you ask them to serve you. Give value before you expect to receive value. The best time to build relationships is before you need them. The best time to serve others is before you need their help. The best time to give value is before you expect to receive value. Don't wait until you need something from someone to start building a relationship with them. Here's something else about preparation that most people miss. Preparation is not just about getting ready for good things. Preparation is also about getting ready for challenging things. Because challenges will come. Problems will arise. Difficulties will appear. And if you're not prepared, they'll knock you down. But if you are prepared, challenges become opportunities. Problems become chances to prove yourself. Difficulties become stepping stones to greater success. The prepared person doesn't fear challenges, they welcome them because they know they're ready. Let me tell you about the confidence that comes from being prepared. When you know you've done the work, when you know you've prepared yourself, you can face anything with confidence. You don't have to worry. You don't have to stress. You don't have to hope everything will work out. You know it will work out because you've prepared for it. This confidence is attractive. People are drawn to confident people. Opportunities are attracted to confident people. Success is attracted to confident people. And confidence comes from preparation. But false confidence comes from hoping, and false confidence crumbles under pressure. When the moment of truth comes, the person who hoped but didn't prepare falls apart. But the person who prepared stands strong. Now let me address something that might be going through your mind. You might be thinking, but Jim, what if I prepare and it still doesn't work out? What if I do all the right things and still don't get the results I want? Here's what I've learned. When you prepare properly, you always get results. They might not be exactly the results you expected, but they're always better than the results you would have gotten from hoping. Sometimes preparation leads you to a different destination than you originally planned, but it's always a better destination than where hoping would have taken you. Sometimes preparation teaches you that what you thought you wanted isn't what you really want, but that's valuable too. The point is, preparation is never wasted. Every book you read makes you smarter. Every skill you develop makes you more valuable. Every habit you build makes you stronger. Every relationship you nurture makes you more connected. Even if things don't turn out exactly as you planned, you're still better off for having prepared. But hoping is always wasted. When hopes don't come true, you have nothing to show for it. You're no smarter, no more skilled, no stronger, no more connected. You're exactly where you started. Except now, you're disappointed and discouraged. So here's my challenge to you. Stop hoping and start preparing. Stop wishing and start working. Stop dreaming and start doing. Make today the day you shift from hoping for a better life to preparing for a better life. What's one thing you can do today to prepare for the success you want? What's one book you can start reading? What's one skill you can begin developing? What's one habit you can start building? What's one relationship you can begin nurturing? Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until next week. Don't wait until next year. Start preparing today, because the sooner you start preparing, the sooner you'll start receiving. Remember, you don't get what you hope for, you get what you prepare for. So prepare well, and life will reward you well. Prepare consistently, and life will reward you consistently. Prepare excellently, and life will reward you excellently. The choice is yours. You can spend the rest of your life hoping things will get better, or you can spend the rest of your life preparing to make things better. One leads to disappointment, the other leads to success. Which will you choose? Because whatever you choose, that's what you'll get. Not because life is fair or unfair, but because life is predictable. You receive what you prepare for, not what you hope for. That's the law, that's the way it works, and that's the way it will always work. So stop hoping and start preparing. Your future self will thank you for it.